Let me recording in progress. Um, the consumer is at the heart of everything we do, right? Contacts of utmost importance. But when we work with those contacts, what do they do? How we work with them? First and foremost, what are they going to do? They want an experience, right? That's going to allow them to search property. That's all they really care about. They want to they want to be able to see property, want to search property. And the cool thing is we have the platforms that allow them to do that, right? Both locally and nationally. And the cool thing about nationally, that is soon over the next couple of months is going to migrate to internationally, because as you know, KW, right, we have 250 offices worldwide in 52 different countries. So we're going to start adding all of that flavor into our websites and mobile applications. So as we continue to grow the platforms, your ability to service your clients grows too. Now, on Thursday, we're going to talk about referrals a little bit because that's where a lot of this will come into play because you obviously can't represent anybody outside of your practice area. That makes sense, right? You guys understand that? That you live in Virginia, right, or DC or Maryland, but I can't sell or represent somebody who's buying property in California or Mexico, or Canada. I don't necessarily have to point out the obvious, but for some people, they don't quite understand that yet. However, if our consumers are looking for property in this particular areas, it benefits me to know about it because I can refer them to somebody that can represent them, right? And I potentially could get a referral fee for making that introduction. So that's why we talk a lot of it about this. Also, the less our consumers have to go outside of our network to search for things, the more they get used to us being their person. We talk a lot about being their person in their world for all things real estate. So that's kind of where we're starting to go. So today we're going to talk about your website, your mobile app, and what you might do, right, to work with your consumers, getting them to download and utilize your platform and value you as the trusted resource for all things versus just going to third-party generic websites, which I think we all probably do to a degree, right? We've all used the Z website, we've gone to homes.com or realtor.com, right? We want them to think of you and your websites in that same vein. And there's a little bit of education that has to take place from you in convincing them or sharing with them the platforms that give them a lot of things that will work, that they're looking for. And I touched on this a little bit last week. And while we're not all the way where we want to be yet from a technological standpoint, if you have somebody that's in the now, and for those of you that have been in business a little bit right now, then you understand that the market is incredibly hot, right? Incredibly hot right now. So what I still do recommend, if you have somebody that's in a buying now type of mindset, that you still set them up on those auto searches from the MLS. It's just best practice. That way nothing falls through the cracks. But for everybody else, the looky-loos, the staying up the breast, what's going on now, your website, your mobile app will really give them everything they're looking for. You should be checking if when you take a listing. Does anybody have a listing right now? Ted, do you have any listings? David, Nora, Terrence, Patricia, and you guys have any listings right now? And I call them those last four because I can't see your smiling faces, and we do prefer the.
I don't even have my license yet.
All right, so you're learning. Awesome. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Turn on your cameras, I can see your face, other than your wonderful picture. It's nice to have a good profile picture. And awesome. Dave's still waiting for his license too. Join us. Let us see who you are, right? We don't like secret agents, right? Right, Ted? No secret agents in our world. So part of your procedures when you start taking listings, okay, is making sure that your listings syndicate across all platforms. So part of that would be checking kw.com, checking your mobile app, checking your website, checking our syndication channels, Zillow, Realtor.com, and make sure that those listings are syndicating and showing up where they should. And they should be showing up within about a half an hour. And if they don't, you would notify. Now, if they don't show up on any of the KW platforms, website, mobile app, you would notify your market center tech trainer, and it would take you through the course. Sometimes we have to do a reset or a refresh to the back end because we're able to pull those listings directly from the local MLS, your local board, and push those to your apps. And sometimes tech happens and they got to refresh on the back end. Okay, so they have to send in a ticket for that. However, if anything's wrong on any other platform, Zillow, Realtor.com, Houses.com, with the 300 other websites that are out there, don't worry about them all, you worry about the big five. We have no control over those. They all pull directly from the MLS. So your concerns would be directly with them. And I bring that up because I get a lot of calls, a lot of emails. Hey, Zillow doesn't have my accurate information. I sympathize with you, but your issue is with Zillow, not with KW. All right, just want to make sure we're all clear on that. Right, Ted, you check all your listings and make sure that they syndicate properly, right?
Yep.
Best practice, right? Ted, have you ever had a client call you and upset that your listing and likeness online on Zillow was inaccurate?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
But yeah.
Pretty much standard yes. So, anyways, that happens all the time. Remember, Zillow is not about the consumer. The Zillow is about selling leads. That's what Zillow is really about. All right, so why don't I go ahead and jump in, and if you guys all log into your command database through agent.kw.com, I'm going to bring my screen up here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. 1 second. All right, share screen, screen 2. All right, everybody seeing my my command okay? Awesome, thank you. All right, so we touched on this a lot last week, but I'm going to remind you guys a couple of things. Your marketing profile, having that set up first before you go into the consumer app and the mobile app is beneficial to you. So just a reminder, if you go to settings, on the left-hand side and under settings, we're going to get command profile will show up on the left-hand side. My network's running a little bit slow today. It's got a case of the Mondays. Underneath connect settings, you're going to see your marketing profile. When you click on that, that'll open up on the screen. Okay, there we go. And once you've set all this up, photo, logos, contact information, bio, right? There's a toggle right here. You want to make sure this toggle is turned on. The reason you want to do this is because it'll take all your marketing profile and push it across to your website and save you some time. So I'm all about time and expediency. So that's an important place to start. Then on the left-hand side, what you do is jump down to the bottom, consumer. Okay, consumer is where your mobile applications, where your website lives. Okay. So when you come in, you're going to land on what we call agent site pages. All right. And then on the right-hand side, there's a button you guys can click on. It says configure your site. Does everybody see that? Awesome. So click on configure your site. It's going to say, what do I want to use? You guys are going to want to use the KW agent site. Okay, give that a chance to load up. And it's going to bring you into something called Kelly Guide. All right, let's do this. Let's go this way. Sorry. From the agent site pages, I want you to click on site and app settings. Inside of site and app settings, you should make sure that green toggle is still turned on over here on the left. And over here on the right-hand side, learn more with Kelly Guides. Everybody see that learn more with Kelly Guides on your page? All right, go ahead and click on learn more with Kelly Guides. And we're going to work on the agent site. Continue. This is going to open up a step-by-step platform for you. At the bottom, there's a Get Started button. Acknowledge and continue. All right, now you're going to get this walkthrough tutorial of setting this up. So the first thing that you're going to notice is that on the left-hand side is what your actual website would look like to the consumer. And you can scroll up and down on the left-hand side there. On the right-hand side are your settings, things that you control and can change that will show up on your website. Okay. Now I want to pause real quick because I want to talk about the consumer experience. Does any of you guys, there's this platform out there, you may have heard of it called Netflix. Anybody heard of Netflix? Maybe, right? Amazon Prime, HBO Max, right? Kind of Hulu. And my son is laughing in the background. He's listening to me cheap things. Says, everybody has those things, Dad. Missing my nuance. So my point of bringing that up is this. When you're utilizing any one of those platforms, whether it's on your computer, your phone, your tablet, or your smart television, you can start watching something on one device, pause it, and go pick it up on another device. It knows exactly where you left off, or it starts making recommendations for you based off of previous experience. One login for multiple platforms. That's what we're working towards with our consumer applications for your associate, for your consumers, okay? Hold on one second. Sorry, we have a little homework project that he is weeding my garden today. So no tablet till the garden is weeded. Told you I'm hardcore. I don't mess around. All right. So in your Netflix experience, oh, I don't want to do that. That's what we want for your consumers. So whether they're on the mobile app or on the desktop, anything they've saved, looked at, shared, flagged, history is the same. Right? They don't have to have different logins, one login for both devices, desktop, tablet, or desktop, tablet, or phone. So that's why we like to refer to your consumer as the Netflix experience for your consumers. Does that make sense? All right, awesome. So let me bring this back up now. So when you're in here, first thing you need to start with is a domain name. Now your domain name here should just be your name. First name, last name, .kw.com, and that would be your domain name for your website. Now, I talked earlier, and I do encourage you that you buy your own .com, daviddonaldson.com, right? And that can be a redirect there for your marketing. But KW's website that they're providing for you will be what we call a subdomain, because our main domain is kw.com. So your page, your websites are subdomains from the KW main page, kw.com. You go out and buy a Google or a GoDaddy domain. They said they're just the host for a domain holder. Don't buy anything else. Don't pay for all these services and email and all these other things. They're not going to host your website. They're not going to build your website. You're just buying a domain from them. It should cost you about $12.95 a year. Yourname.com. And what you can do is you can redirect, because it's better to brand your own brand, yourname.com or yourname.net, right? If you can't get .com. I don't have .com because David Donaldson was already taken, believe it or not, over 10 years ago. And then you'll forward this website to that. Now, if you are more advanced in understanding the website, there are things that you can do for tracking and indexing behind the domain names that you name. It's not something that we can do right now. So all we'll do is forward. We'll forward that. So when you purchase that domain name and you're set up and ready to go, your Market Center Tech Trainer will help you redirect that when you're ready to do that. That's not a big deal. But here, put your name in and confirm the domain, right? It'll check that it's available, that there are no other David Donaldsons in the KW ecosystem to steal your name, and you can go from there. So I want you to go ahead and do that. Right below that is your marketing profile information. Guess where this is going to pull from? Don't all speak at once. From your marketing profile. All right. So this is going to pull from the marketing profile you already have in place. Just double check all your contact information. Make sure that tech didn't happen and there's nothing wrong there. All that should be this. You should be good to go. All right. At the bottom, you'll see a couple of pictures are pulled. It'll pull your Market Center logo. Ignore this bottom one. It's just an example of what logos will look like when they display, as you see here on the left-hand side, on your website. If you have team logo. If you have just a Market Center logo, that's fine. If you have a team logo, that's fine. If you don't, that's okay too. Then below that, your social media links will be there. And then you'll actually see your mobile app link. All right, we'll come back to that later, but you'll see that at the bottom of the page. Okay. Then you go save and continue. Okay. Now the next page is going to ask you, do you want a red theme or a dark theme? Doesn't matter. The only thing it really changes is this KW over here and some footer information at the bottom, color wise. So if I change to dark theme, the only thing that changed was I now have a dark KW. So don't worry about that too much. I like red, so I just leave it on red. The next box you have is a homepage text, which is this right here. So you can literally say whatever you want in this box. Let us help you find your next home. Whatever you want to say. Remember, this is reflective of you and your personality, right? So you can change what shows up above this search box. It's called an omni box, where they can search by any types of things: bedrooms, bathrooms, zip codes, cities, neighborhoods, schools, all kinds of things are searchable here. So you put whatever you want in that box or leave it as currently configured. Below that, you're going to see pictures. Well, my pictures are going to be a little bit different than the pictures that are currently on your website. There are 5. And the reason there are 5 is that they scroll across the homepage. Okay, that scroll just refreshes on the background so everybody sees something different when they come to your website. The challenge here with you guys and the 5 that you have is that they're the same 5 that every new agent has. So what I do encourage you to do are download. Now this is 1200 by 1200, but I believe the size is actually closer to 2000, right? It's not a box, so 1200 by 1200 doesn't work too big, although it'll truncate them down. But 2000 by like 700, I think, is the actual. You want to use a high resolution photo that you can either download through other websites. One is called Pexels, PEXELS.com, and I'll put that in the chat for you. Take a look at PEXELS.com. And you can search and download high resolution pictures off of that website that are all about real estate. The best pictures to use when you get them are listings that you have for your business that you own and nobody else will utilize. Right? I referenced Pexels, which is great, but it's still a free website to download pictures that everybody has access to. So even though I've got 5 pictures on my website, I downloaded them from Pexels. You could end up with the same pictures. Not going to be as common as all the KW agents having the same ones, because we all created the same, but you may have the same taste that I have in properties. Does that make sense for everybody? All right, perfect. All right, now the 5 that are already here for you, okay, have to be removed if you're going to load something new, because you can only have 5. So you just hit the trash can here, remove one that's there. So erase and replace. Then you would just upload the new pictures. All right, below that, you hit save and continue. It'll take you to the next setup page. Okay, so now you're going to come to a company profile. I'm going to bring up my website real quick just so you kind of see what mine looks like, or what a live website would actually appear. Okay, davidhollandson.net. All right, let's give that a chance to load up. There we go. So there's my website, right? It's got my logos in the upper left. It's got my pictures here in the main page. It's got my Omni box, featured listings, what I'll show you here in a minute, my contact information, and a couple additional pages that'll be available here. You won't have all these now because this is a beginner's class. You'll have 2 to 3 pages when you're done today, which you can go back and more. You see these additional buttons, feed and guide and saved. These only show up on the page when you have an account. You see that I actually have an initial, so that means I've created an account like a consumer would on my website. So just want you to see what a live page looks like. Now, on this next page, customizing your site's contact, when I open this navigation button, you'll see that there are 3 pages available to you: company, about me, and contact. Okay, so right now I'm going to gloss over company profile, but I'm going to give you some examples of what you might do here. I come back to my website and I go to Elite Real Estate Group. This is essentially that page. Okay, I've got a little bit of contact on here, put a little bit about the team, the mission statement, which essentially is KW's mission statement, and some areas we service here at the bottom. That's what this company profile page is here. You can use it for whatever you like. What I recommend when you're new, the best thing to do is one of three things. One, it could be about KW in general. You can put this all about KW. Put KW's information on here, the company that you work for, right? KW's mission statement, and a little blurb about why you're with KW, and you get to change up these two pictures here. The other option could be, instead of just about KW, it could be about your market center, right? KW United, KW Falls Church, KW Newport News, because whatever you want to talk about your local area, you could put some information about your market center. The third thing that you could put here under your profile is, if you are on a team, you could put the team information. And notice in those three examples, I didn't say put your information there, because there is an About Me page that's going to be all about you. Okay, so either KW, your market center, or your team, if you have one, should build up this page. Okay, now as you're building this page with content, you see there are two additional drop downs on the right hand side. One is SEO, and one is content. So content is what shows up actually on the page. So when I change information here, you'll see that it shows up on this page. Okay. Then it says, all right, intro paragraph right here. So I'm going to tell you that this intro paragraph, which shows up right here, enter quick description. This allows you to put 250 characters of info, which is going to show up right here. So you got paragraph 1, and that allows for 500. Okay. Paragraph 2 also allows for 500. I always just like to do, just kind of give you guys some examples of what you can do on this page. And then there are also 2 photographs that you can upload a picture here. Now these are squares, and they make reference to 360 by 360. If you have a square image, whether it's 500, 700, the higher the resolution, a little bit better, and then allows you to resize and drill it back down. It should format pretty well. And what I skipped was up here at the top is your banner image. So this is a skyline here. That's 2000 by 500. Again, you can create your own. You notice that on my website, I had this little image. And what I did is I just went to Canva. I uploaded a banner image, snipped a picture that I liked, and I ran with it. Don't overthink it too much. You can play around with it over time and keep adjusting things. I'm a little graphically challenged. It's not my strongest attribute. So that might be something that you're better at, or maybe your market center trainer is good at, or somebody in your office. But I think we're all kind of used to, at this point, downloading and utilizing images and understanding how to place them into certain elements. And that's what we're going to have the ability to do on this page. Now, below that, you've got this footer headline. It's very easy when you're building out something like this to kind of stay in the box. But I'm telling you, you've got free will and creativity. So this page can be a page about anything you want. Right? You don't have to use it the way that it's currently configured. It's just fill in the blanks. What I recommend, though, whether it's anything above or here below, this footer headline, I like to say here, I think what works well, I say areas we service. So basically, what areas do you do the majority of your business in? Okay. Now, it could be zip codes. It could be counties. It could be cities. Or it could be neighborhoods. There's no right or wrong here except for my spelling, which is atrocious when I'm trying to type, train, and talk at the same time. So please forgive me. But you kind of get where I'm going with here, right? Now, while you are licensed in Virginia, wherever you are, you have an area that's going to be your expertise, okay? Now, while I am licensed in Virginia, I live in Ashburn. So the areas that I practice should be in and around Ashburn or Loudoun County, right? I won't put every major city in all of Northern Virginia as my areas. I work on the peripheries, but what I'm certainly not going to do is I'm not going to put Richmond in here, or Lynchburg, or Newport News, right, or Virginia Beach. Now, I'm licensed in Virginia. I could sell in any one of those areas. They're 3.5 to 4 hours away from me. That's not an area that I'm comfortable with, know anything about, or am I going to drive to show homes? So just kind of give some thought about where you practice. Are any of you in border states like that where you would have multiple licenses? Ted, where do you have your additional licenses? In Maryland?
No, North Carolina.
North Carolina, right? So down the southern side of the state, you're in North Carolina. So this may evolve to you also mentioning that you work in other states, right? Because you're in a border area. That's okay. But again, same thing applies. Like I live in Northern Virginia. A lot of people up here are licensed in DC and Maryland. But just because I'm licensed in Maryland doesn't mean I should be selling properties in Baltimore. So be conscious and understanding about what your skill set is, what your practice areas are, and that you can refer business above and beyond that. If you're going to, and I know my broker is on the lookout for these things. If there's an agent in my market center that all of a sudden says they're doing, they're taking a listing or under contract or something in Baltimore, she's going to take issue with that. It's outside their practice area. They're licensed there, but it's outside their practice area. So talk to your brokers if you've got concerns of doing transactional business that may be beyond what you would be your common core practice area. It's just me kind of giving you a little heads up to look out for you. I'm not a broker, can't tell you how to run your business, but I do like to give some recommendations because I think it's important to know that we all do have limitations on that. All right, so areas we service. I think you guys kind of get that point. Now, what I didn't cover here, and I skipped over, was this SEO page. I'm going to come back to that. So SEO basically is your website talking to Google, right? So if I actually were to go to Google and do a search for myself, I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but you should. What does your online likeness look like? Or what a friend of mine calls your digital twin. Now, my name is fairly common. There's an economist, there's an architect, there's a musician, right? So I get lost in a little bit of noise of David Donaldson. So it helps if I put David Donaldson Realtor or David Donaldson KW. When I do that, I'll see that, hey, I've got, I have this because I set up my Google profile accordingly. But I also have all this additional information that shows up here, okay? These keywords, which is what the search was here, I searched for David Donaldson, and anything that was tied to surface those searches will show up below. Now, some things I have control over and some things I do not. And by control, I mean like something like a website. So my website, daviddonaldson.kw.com, okay, I control the SEO on that website that goes out to Google. I don't control any of the SEO on LinkedIn. I don't control the SEO on KW United, which is my market center website. Well, I do, but I think you get my point, right? I don't control realtor.com. I can put my profile, and I highly encourage that you do. Anywhere you could put a free profile out there, I want you to take advantage of doing that. Headshot, contact information, bio, because that will strengthen your brand in search results by all these free sites, okay? But on the KW site, your agent, right, David Donaldson shows up on my website. We'll pull here. But what I'm telling Google is this. Every page has the ability to have SEO, your website as a whole or individual pages. Now, our website at this point in time isn't really strong on SEO. So that's why I say, I want you to know what this is, but I don't want you to trip over it too much because it's not going to drive a tremendous amount of traffic to your website. It's just not where you're at because there's a couple of things that come into play. The age of your domain, the size of your website, and the actual content on your website. And you've got to be very diligent, writing and adding and freshing new content all the time to drive traffic and show up organically. organically is getting very, very challenging because the marketing companies want all those placements and they spend a lot more money than you do. So that's my explanation here. But SEO, what should match? The page title should match your page title. Okay. Your About Us, which is your domain, right? Your domain is daviddonaldson.kw.com, About Us. And I would change that to also match the title of my page. Consistency is the key here, okay? And then SEO description. You've got about 160 characters here. And your description, so the name of your page and your description, okay, all these things that show up underneath, that's your description, what they call meta tag descriptions. So what I would put here, I would say David Donaldson with KW Realty, right? I'm hammering that point home. Now let's say services, and then I would list out the areas that I service again. And that's my description. So this is my page. This is me talking to Google saying this page, right? This is profile page. This is what this is about. And if anybody were searching for certain key terms that I might show up on, which I'm telling you is very hard to show up on, this is what they would see. It reaffirms to them the accuracy of my page. Understand that when the websites first rolled out, early 90s, people started building websites, that there was a lot of bait and switch going on. So I might have a website that was realestate.com. You go to realestate.com, you think it's about realestate.com, but when you get there, it actually takes you to something else completely. That's not real estate related. It's bait and switch. So this SEO and this authentication that takes place on the back end, it's so that the consumers are actually getting the results on those searches that matches exactly what they're looking for, and they're not getting a bait and switch. That's why a lot of this comes into play. Any questions on the profile page or SEO at this particular point? Dylan, would you go shut the door so I don't hear the landscapers, please?
One sec.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to move on to the next page because I mentioned there are actually 3. Okay. Then I'll click continue. Now the next page is your About Me page. Okay. Now you're still going to have SEO here, right? About me, and again, instead of about me, I might say about David Donaldson. I would put my name in here, David Donaldson, and I would give it, again, a quick description of me. David Donaldson services these areas, works for KW United and Falls Church. Then the body content, okay. The body content pulls from your marketing profile, your headshot, your bio, all that's already there. If you already set that up to be there, okay? Contact information should all be there. So there should be very simple things to launch this page. Shouldn't be a whole lot to do here. If this is blank, it's because your profile is blank. And I would encourage you to go back to your profile and update it there. Continue. The third page is a contact us page. And I'll bring my contact up just so you can see mine. So instead of contact us, mine says let's have coffee. Now, if you happen to like it, rip off and replicate and replace. I'm okay with that, right? So on this page, again, I have the SEO. I would say contact David Donaldson, or meet with David Donaldson. All right? Contact, meet David Donaldson. Okay. Oh yeah, you don't use spaces. You would use dashes. Right? Websites, Google don't read spaces. SEO description, meet David Donaldson, and then content. Remember, all the content changes what shows up over here on the left-hand side. So instead of contact us, I said let's have. All right, let's have coffee. Or I don't know if you guys are back out in the field. Yeah, I know some people are, some people aren't. Let's have. All right, this made more sense a year ago, but I still think some people still meet remotely. Maybe you have digital coffee, right? And then intro contact paragraph, which you have here, you're going to want to make sure you either delete it or add something there, right? And I have, again, the first step in working together, I'll copy this for you. First step in working together is to find the right need in real estate, is to get to know each other and see if I'm a fit for you. What a better way than to meet over coffee. You're looking for a reason for them to reach out to you, right? And understand that you may not want to work with everybody you meet, and not every person you meet is going to work with you. So establishing a relationship first and foremost is important. So how you express yourself here may entice somebody to go ahead and click on and schedule an appointment with you, okay? Then below that, you've got this message hint. This message hint is essentially what type of information do you want the consumer, if they're filling out this contact page, to provide to you so you can reach out to them about whatever it is that they need, right? So here it says, tell me, I actually explain it. I say, hey, tell me a little bit about what your real estate needs are, right? Location, number of bedrooms, bathrooms, or anything that you must have. You can say whatever you want here. They start, are you looking to buy, sell? What is your time frame? It's kind of generic. I always encourage you to make it sound like it's coming from you. What would you say to somebody the first time you met them that you would need to know to help them? So that's the message hint. What are you trying to get from them? Okay. Your contact information will be there, and that's it. Any questions on the bio page or the contact me page? All right, rolling along. So at the bottom of this, I am not going to save and continue because I don't want to make any changes to my website. Okay, but you guys would hit save and continue. And believe it or not, the moment you do that, your website's live. Now, here's what I don't want you to do, okay? I don't want you guys to not do this right now because you're fear of putting up something that's incomplete or something that you're not ready for somebody to see, because I'm going to be brutally honest with you. Nobody's going to see it anyways, right? You're brand new. You don't have this on your cards. It's not anywhere. Nobody's going to stumble upon this. So go ahead, launch it, live it, start looking at it and start tweaking it. And then do be conscious to the point that when you start notifying people that you're licensed in your business and you're going to add your domain name, your business card to your business cards, people will start going there. But if you launch it right now and you're not telling people to go there, they're not going to find it. So don't paralyze yourself about not being complete. But I do want you to have a sense of urgency around cleaning that up and adding all that additional information. Is that fair? All right, awesome. All right, I'm going to go back into command now. So now once your website is launched, you'll see your domain name is here, it'll be in the middle of your page when you come into the consumer page. Remember, I'm on the left. I come down to consumer on the bottom right-hand side. Now, once you've launched your website, you're going to see a list here. These are going to be the pages that are built and added to your website. So you're going to see your profile page. You're going to see your contact me page. You're going to see your agent profile page, right? Later on, you'll have a blog post and things like that. Let's not worry about that from setup for right now. But if you wanted to make changes to any of these pages, you could literally just click on the three dots, click edit. It's going to open up your actual website page on your website. And you can go ahead and modify and make any changes that you deem necessary to the pages that you have previously launched out. I don't know why mine's saying not configured. I know what it is. Oh, there it is. Just took a minute to freshen up. So if I actually went in here, I can make any changes, right? I can come in here and make changes to my website, which I don't want to do, but I can go in here and edit any of this information, or I could add in from additional widgets, right? Agent profile, contact us, team carousel. I'm going to talk about building a page here in a second, but I just want you to know that you can go here and edit those things. Once you're happy with the layout, the configure widget is where you actually make those modifications. So if I needed to make a change to my bio, I can just go in there and tweak that, or if I changed my email address or my phone number, I would do it on my marketing profile first, but I would also make sure the change is here. So configure widgets allows you to fill in the blanks and how you would edit the main body copy on any page that you have actively running, right? So I'm going to X out of here. So I actually don't want to make any changes to my particular website. So edit from here. Now, what if I want to build a page from scratch? That's a good question. All right, so I've got this create a new page button here. And there's two things that you can do when building pages on your website. You can add a page to my website, okay? Or I can add a standalone. Now they work very similarly, but understanding where they end up mapping to is what matters. Adding a page on my website is exactly that. I may add a page and it's going to index like a testimonial page on my website, right? So I have this page here. I have this testimonial page, okay? Which means a client could come to my website and they could leave a testimonial about me. Question is, how did it get there? So if I say, hey, I need to add a page on my website, create a page. Now on the right-hand side are all these tiles. They're called widgets, okay? And what I want you to do is I actually want you to go in here and play around with some of these things. First thing you do is maybe just call this a test page, okay? And then you'll see, all right, this is what my profile, okay, that would show up there. And I got a contact form, that would show up there. Give them a second to load. And then you say, you know what, I don't want that. So let's get that out of there. So I can click on the trash can, which will remove the widget, right? All right, I want to put I'm going to notify them to download my mobile app. I could put that there. Maybe I want to put above that, I want to put my testimonial, ask them for a testimonial. So I can put that there. So that'll drop in. So now I've got this, okay, there's my testimonial at the top, my download my mobile app at the bottom. Okay, I can play around with that. Or maybe I want to put content. Maybe I want to add a picture, right? Then I would choose and upload a picture from my website. I already realized, I didn't want picture. I actually want text. Delete that, add text. Can add a text box here. Maybe you're talking about a particular neighborhood, right? I might cut and paste some links, search for homes under 100,000, search for homes over 500,000, list them all out, list schools, whatever kind of content you may want on your website, right? That shows up here. Now, because I've added two widgets here, right? Remember I pulled in a testimonial and I pulled in my download my mobile app. I've got to configure something. So at the bottom, I'd have to click configure widgets, right? Change it from Nina Royals with David Donaldson. Leave me a review. Whatever that looks like for you, right? And then you can tweak these descriptions that are going to show up on the page if you want to rewrite those things. I'm not all about rewriting everything, but it makes sure it represents you and your likenesses and it says things that they should say. And I click save and apply. Then I go to the next widget, which was my download my mobile app. Everything else is already there for the most part, right? And I might say, you know what, homes on the go. Search for homes on the fly. I only have 30 characters, so you have to be monosyllabic. Some text here. This would be a link to your landing page, right? So you guys should test your landing pages out, see where that goes to, right? And I'll copy that and I'll show you. So my landing page goes to, everybody has the same landing page set up except for this code. The code's what's unique to you. So when you pull up this page or your consumers pull up this page, you're gonna land on a downloader page that's gonna say, hey, go to download this app, right? And it would be branded to you. So your name and your likeness will show up here. And it's cool, and you should check out the video. A little tutorial video shows them what they can do with their website, how they search, how they look for search, save searches, all the things that you guys should be doing. Then I would hit save and apply. All right. And then once I'm done, I say, hey, I want this page to be up and running, save changes. It's going to ask me if you want to publish it because you created it first. And just because you created it doesn't mean that it's live on your website. You got to attend, because you might build out a bunch of pages that you're playing with before you want to publish them. Right. So then you say, no, I don't want to, or yes, let's add it to my website. If you say yes, it's going to bring you to another page. And it's going to show you your list of websites that are here. Okay, it's going to allow you to add the page and select it from the list. And it'll always be the one at the top. Add my new test page. Let's give it a name. Slug, right? Because you always have to tell it what it is. And a quick little description about what the page would be. Remember, because we're always talking to Google on the back end. And when I click save here, it's going to take it, it's going to add it. And now when I go back out to my website, just to show you so you can see how quickly things load up, and I hit refresh, and I look underneath my drop down, yeah, test page is already there. Now, I didn't fill it in, so it's going to be kind of junky, right? But you can see how quickly and why those widgets are so easy to use, because they're pre-formatted for you, right? Most agents have no idea how to build a website, nor should they have to. I'd say 90% of them. Maybe 10% know how to do some additional things that they may want to do. And I would say maybe 1% could actually build a website from scratch, where they would be frustrated with the lack of ultimate control to build something up from scratch. Our thought process is we have to build it for the masses, make it easy for them to use so that their consumers can do the one thing that they really want to do, which is search. That's why when we built out and we tested these websites and we went out to 1 million people, we didn't go out to a million realtors, they went to 1 million consumers and asked them what they wanted in our website. And they kept back with the #1 thing that they said, we want to be able to search. So that's what we allow your websites to do. Search, and search well. All right, so now just come back here, command. Now I obviously don't want that page on my site, so I click and I would delete that off my site. Now it's gone. But that's how quickly you can build and add additional pages. Now I'm going to show you something else. I told you there was a difference. There are landing pages. Landing pages are kind of like single property websites. Okay, you will use these for your open houses more than anything else. There'll be other things that you'll come across and you may start to utilize, but open houses is the easiest way for me to explain this to you. So if you go in and say, hey, I'm going to do an open house this weekend. Is anybody doing an open house this weekend? Nobody knows yet. Okay. So I'm going to create a new page. Now this time, instead of adding it to my website, it's a standalone. So it's a landing page. Create page. All right, I'll call this the test page, right? Now on the right-hand side, the widgets are a little bit different. You've got a couple of different widgets on a landing page than you have on a website page. So again, same type of thing. Go in here, drag all these different widgets are, and see what you have at your disposal. But I'll kind of give you a quick and easy tutorial of how to build a landing page for an open house. I like to put the branded header on there first. Yeah. Sometimes I screw up which ones delete. Yeah, I like the branded header. That's what I want at the top. There we go. And then, now on an open house, I'm going to put my contact form at the top. And I'll explain that in a second. All right, lead form, which means what is your information, consumer? And right below that, I'm going to put the actual listing. Drag that to the bottom. Okay. So now I've got a template. I've got it's 3 widgets. It's got my branded header. It's got a contact form, and then it's got the property description right here. Now, notice that yet this is just a generic form and there is no property because I haven't told it what property I want to syndicate or I want to put to this landing page yet. All right. In order to do that, I have to configure the widgets. Okay. So configure widget. Now the first widget is my branded header. Now what I like to do here is under the header text is the only thing that's really blank. I'm going to say open house for 123 Main Street. Example, but in your particular case, you would actually put open house for the actual property address. Save and apply. Okay, so that'll show up at the top of the page. It'll jump to header number 2. Okay, interested, let's talk. And instead of interested, let's talk, I'll say learn more about 123 Main Street. Right? Or thanks for coming to the open house on 123 Main Street. Okay, save and apply. And then I'll go to the third widget, toggle over to that. Now it's going to ask me to browse listings. So what you would now go in and do is that you would search for this listing in the MLS. Remember, our listings are all pulling from the MLS. So I can go browse listings. Now, as a new agent, okay, Ted, what was the listing address for your property?
I should know that. Give me like 2 seconds and I'll pull it up.
So if you're doing an open house, you're more than likely as a new agent going to do an open house for somebody else and not your own listing, and that's okay.
It's 1601 South River Creek Landing.
Search. (1601) South River Creek Landing, right there.
Yep.
Select that property. Now notice it's looking through the entire MLS nationally, right? So that's why you got to kind of drill down. Give me a second to load. So I'm sure what's going on here. My internet is at a crawl. Anyways, I go ahead. I would select that property. So check this out. Hey, Ted, you see that? So that property sold back in that, or was for sale in 2018, huh? So just so you guys are seeing, I was seeing the same property here, but it showed the previous history data there.
Yeah, they tried to sell it earlier, and you know, didn't hire the right person. So
that happens, right? Have you met Ted? All right, so there we go. I'm locking up here, so I'm just going to get off of this page. And what would happen here is that the pictures and the details about the property would be imported into the widget. You would see the cover picture and all the pictures that are in the MLS, okay, as well as all the descriptive information. Price, number of bedrooms, the bathrooms, those would all import directly into this widget. Just, I am at a crawl here because I'm streaming, talking, and broadcasting and working at the same time. Thus, some of my issues, I think, that I'm experiencing.
Hey, David, I put an example of one that I did.
Ah, perfect.
In there so they can check it out.
I will bring that up.
And that's also when I answer the question, that's why nobody's ever called me about their listing not showing on Zillow, because I actually create these right away and I send them to the client because they just want to share something on their Facebook.
So you're being proactive with your client. Mm-hmm. Awesome. All right, so here's what it would look like, right? Ted's header would be there. Now, Ted did his layout a little bit differently than mine, right? I told you I did the contact at the top. And there's a reason I do the contact at the top. So when I'm doing an open house, I want them to register first, right? Before they're looking at the property, I want their contact information. So Ted's not wrong. It's just the way that I do things, right? We all have a difference in opinion, right? Opinions are like rear ends. We all have one, right? And that's just the way that I do things. I like to have their contact information first because what happens is when they register here, I'll get pinged on my phone that I have a new contact because I have my Kelly app, which we talked about last week. The Kelly notification will come through in relatively close proximity, depending on the network that I'm on. Let me know I have a new contact, and I'll see their information come through. That's what I need to beat them over the head about, but I'll know. Right? And then they want information about this property. And then I would have the property details, right? So all the pictures are there. Okay? Property descriptions, bedrooms, baths. And then when they fill out this contact form, that registrant automatically comes into command as a new contact as a lead. Remember we talked about contacts last week on Monday? Anybody that registers on my app through a contact page or a landing page gets created a contact record inside a command, and I'll know where it came from. It'll tell me it came from this landing page. It'll stamp them with their contact information and put a green L around it because they come in as a lead, because it recognizes that mobile apps or desktop websites as a lead for you to communicate and update from. We come back out to command here. I just start to wrap it up. So any questions around launching your website, working with landing pages, editing your website, claiming your domain? There's a lot there, right? Like anything else, it's best to just throw yourself in there. There's lots of recorded videos on this. I've got these sessions are recorded. You can go to Command My Business and step-by-step different things about the websites of the consumer app. I didn't really go into the consumer app because the desktop experience is just like working on your phone. So on your phone, you should download the KW Realty app. And if you created an account through your website, like I did, then you'll be able to log in through the KW Realty app with the same login and credentials that you created for your desktop. If you didn't create something in your desktop and you go in directly through the mobile app, then you can be able to log into your desktop. But do me a favor when you do this, remember, so this isn't my initials here. I use my son. I created a generic test account, right? It's not my KW app. It doesn't know that it's me. It thinks I'm a consumer. So just remember when you create an account to go in there as a consumer, it's, maybe it's Danielle. Maybe you pick your brother, your sister, your mom or dad and create an account with a generic name and a generic email address that's not specific to your business. So you know that's your test account. Does that make sense? So you do the same, your mobile app. And once you've created one, you can log in from the desktop or your phone. And your search capabilities on your website, and I'll come back out to the home page here, functions on your website, just like it does on your phone. And the cool thing about the phone is you start receiving notifications. So if you start doing safe searches and settings about certain properties or criteria, you get push notifications into your account saying, hey, these things are available. So if I say, hey, I am interested in show me 19046, right? Because I created a safe search around that, then I can go in there and the properties are going to show up in that zip code. That's Jenkintown, Pennsylvania. Okay, that's where I'm from. I also have the save toggle. So any properties that I saved, I have all these different save searches. I've got collections, right? So there's save searches, which are refreshed all the time with new listings that have come and gone. Collections are the specific properties themselves. When I went in and I hearted or I liked the property, they fall into a collection because now I've saved not just the search, but the specific property itself. And then I can also save by neighborhoods. So if there's a particular neighborhood that I'm interested in, I could actually go on any one of my listings. I'll see the neighborhood that it's associated with. I'll just kind of jump into a listing right quick. Again, I apologize for the landscapers. They always come when I'm broadcasting live. There's a particular property. So this is the neighborhood right here. And if I click on Explore Neighborhood, it's going to give me details about that particular neighborhood. Other homes for sale, transactions that have taken place recently, right? And then at the top, I could actually follow the neighborhood or save the neighborhood. And then it recognizes that I'm interested in all things in this particular neighborhood. So I think this is just something you're going to need to take a little bit of time with. This isn't really going to help you that much. And save search. So with that, your homework is create an account, launch your website, create an account like you're a consumer, download your mobile app, make sure it's branded to you, right? On your mobile app, you can go to that downloader page that I showed you, or you can actually go to kwrealty.com and search for an agent under the More button after you've created an account and assign it to yourself. If you're inside of Command, you're inside of Winmore, you're going to have an agent profile page for your mobile app. And with that, I'm 2 minutes long, so I apologize for running long. Any questions for anybody today going over the consumer app? Okay. So tomorrow we're going to go and we're going to teach designs, and I'm not going to be here tomorrow. Tomorrow it's going to be all about Ted. Ted, you're teaching designs tomorrow, and he'll take you through everything of how we create and utilize flyers and designs and listing presentations and social media posts all through the system, like we were building something on Canva. Right? Designs is our internal Canva experience. All right. So I will see you all the day after that. But have a great day and keep chugging away with Command. Bye, everybody.